Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijoma, and before I begin my conversation with this week's guest, if you enjoy these conversations and you would like to support the podcast, you can go to convome.com/support, and there you'll be able to buy me a proverbial coffee or two, and all proceeds go into keeping the podcast up and running. And now, on to my conversation with my guest. My guest this week is Darowan, and she runs the Etsy shop Designs by Darowan. She does a whole bunch of things, quite frankly, but I'm going to let her share all what she does on and off Etsy. Darowan, thank you so much for being my guest, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you on, and just for background and I know I just told you this, how I found you was through Canva, which is thrilling to me because I know many Etsy sellers use Canva, and I don't know if anyone has ever thought of who is behind all those designs that we see on Canva. And I was looking up forms for a project I was working on, and I picked a design I liked and a theme that I liked for the forms I was working on for the event, and they were by you. And so I went down this rabbit hole and eventually realized you sold on Etsy, and I was like, she has to be my guest on the podcast. So here you are. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. And can you just tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, and also just a quick shout out to you because I have been a long time listener. Just want people to know that I've been following you for a long time. So to start from, I don't know where you want me to start because my story goes way back. I've been on Etsy for about 11 years. So
Wow,
I don't
you're an
know.
OG.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So did you always wear tell us what you sell right now and if that's what you've been selling since the beginning.
Perfect. Okay, so just to start with my name is Darowan, and I've been selling on Etsy since about 2011. But when I started at first, I was selling, believe it or not, whipped shea butter, which was, um,
Ooh.
how did I start doing that? So I had started growing my hair natural, and I was looking for natural hair care products, which at the time there weren't a lot. So I was making my own. I've always been into DIY.
Mm.
So I started making lots of products and experimenting, and I was like, okay, this might be nice to put it out there to see if people are interested because obviously, if I'm looking for a product, someone else might be looking for something similar. So
Yeah.
that's what I started doing. And I did that on and off for several years. It was more like a hobby though, because I had a full time job.
Mm.
I worked and lived in New York at the time, upstate New York. And I eventually moved to Texas and I moved out of Texas. And of course, when I moved out of the United States, I couldn't sell any physical products
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So that was the end of my Etsy shop. So now I sell digital products. So I am a, I guess, digital product creator. I don't have a background in graphic design, so everything that I design, I learned myself. I'm self-taught, and I don't use the title graphic designer because I'm not trained specifically. I can do certain things that I need to create what I need to create. So, yeah, I'm a digital product creator, and my tool that I specialize in using is Canva. So that's kind of part of the story, but we can go
Yeah,
into more specifics as we go along.
for sure, for sure. So after you closed down your shop the first time because you left, and I can imagine just how hard it would have been to keep selling physical products. What
Mhm.
was it that made you decide to come back to Etsy to sell again?
Okay. So when I moved out of the United States, it wasn't really moving out.
Mhm.
This background story is necessary to set up the answer.
Oh, go for it.
So I was taking like a sabbatical. It was self-sponsored. I wanted to travel a little bit because I had been doing some independent traveling and I wanted to do more like 1 year or 2 years. So
Mm.
I kind of packed up everything. I sold all my stuff and I quit my job. And I had been planning for a while, so I had some savings. So I found this program in Spain that I moved. I moved to Spain through this program that supports, I guess, English speaking people from English speaking countries like US, England, to partner with a program that I have in Spain. Anyway, so I did that for about a year.
Mm.
And I was like, well, I kind of like living abroad. I want
Mm.
to continue for some time, but I need to make money.
Right.
I need to figure out a way to continue um, working or not working, but funding my travels because I was, funding my travels and savings and I wanted to, not deplete all my savings. So
Uh-huh.
I, when I was in the US, I'm still a pharmacist.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, well, what can I do? What can I do? Every day I was thinking of, a new idea. And one of the things I liked when I was a pharmacist was preventative care. I didn't quite work directly with that, but I always wondered what can we do to help people before they come to the hospital, to stop them from getting so sick that
Yeah.
we have to intervene the way we do. So it's kind of led me to, well, I could be a health coach. I'm a pharmacist.
Mhm.
I like people helping people to prevent diseases. Health coaching sounds perfect. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I started a health coaching program. It was about 9 months long. And I was all in. I studied, I practiced, I started taking practice clients. And right towards the end of the program, I remember that the school gave us some forms that we needed to use for our like worksheets for our practice clients.
Mhm.
I hadn't started taking real clients. This was just people that were helping me build my portfolio.
Mhm.
And I remember the forms were so clunky. They're, made in Google Docs.
Mhm.
You couldn't really edit them. I was like, this looks so unprofessional because I need to change a few things. So
Mhm.
of course I went on Canva. And mind you, I've been using Canva even when I had a physical Etsy shop to create my labels
All
and
right. Yeah.
yeah. So I've always used Canva. So I just went back and I redesigned the form and I was like, oh, this looks much better. So we had a Facebook group with a bunch of coaches and I said, I'll just share it there. Maybe someone else might also use it because we're all in the same cohort. All of us were
Mm.
doing the same coaching program. This is health coaching program. So I shared the form there, and lots of people were like, "Oh, where did you make it? I like it. Give me a copy. I want it." So I said, okay, all right. I wonder if this is a thing. At that point, I had never even thought about selling digital products. All I was
Oh,
thinking was,
really?
yeah, all I was thinking of, I had to do a service-based business, and that's how I would be able
Mhm.
to continue traveling
Mhm.
and being a remote worker. So, long story short, that was the moment it started. I started doing some research. I don't know how I ended up on Etsy, back on Etsy, but I ended up back on Etsy. And I saw that people were selling Canva templates, which was I was like, what? Etsy? Okay. And
Wow.
yeah, and that's how it started.
That is amazing that, you came full circle
Yeah.
and it all stemmed from you just trying to make something better, not even thinking. Sometimes I think, some of us, myself included, overthink things. Like we're like, okay, this has got to be a thing, so I'm going to make it a thing, even, and it's not really a thing. And then here you were just doing you,
Mhm.
and it became something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole life. Yeah. Changed my whole life, basically.
Wow. So then that was the beginning. Was that the beginning of Designs by Darowan?
Yes. Which is why the name is so, I don't know, basic. I
What?
never changed it. Yeah. I just said, what am I gonna call my shop? Because this was not the original name. I had a different name when I was selling shea butter.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I think it was called Dar Naturals. Again, not very creative.
I think that is creative, actually. And I like Designs by Darren because it gives you flexibility to grow and change and, not necessarily have to change the name.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also I couldn't come up with anything else. I just like Darowan. It's designs,
Yeah.
designs by Darowan. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So are you completely self-taught, or um did you use any resources to try and help you just hone your skills?
Yes. So when I first started, obviously I was not comfortable with designing something to sell.
Mhm.
There's one thing to design to use for yourself, it's one thing to design to share with other people, but
Yeah.
then to sell it, I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to use Canva for myself. So what I did was I went to Coursera. I don't know if you're familiar with it
Oh,
now.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, of course. So I went there and I just searched for courses, and there actually was a like a 4-part course on Canva, and I already knew how to use it, but it just gave me a little bit extra, and it had some refinement to my skills,
Mhm.
and it also showed me how to do certain things that I wouldn't know. Meaning that, okay, if you're going to sell a template, this is how you would design it for somebody else.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so the course, obviously, Coursera is free, which is why I always tell people, just you'd be
Yeah.
surprised what you can find that's out there
Yeah.
that's already available that you don't have to spend money on.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
honestly, I think actually, believe it or not, I think you're the first person to mention Coursera on the podcast. I'm
yeah,
familiar with it and I don't know why I've never even mentioned it, but I love Coursera. It's exactly for the reason you said, that there are thousands of things, courses, skills that you can learn, and it's all free,
yep, yep,
unless, you want to get an official certificate perhaps for work,
yep,
or some reason that you need something on paper to prove that you've done it. But it's all there free and from really high quality
yes.
teachers and institutions and what have you, not self-proclaimed, you know
Exactly. That's the
anyway.
thing too, is people always think, oh, you have to be an SSL, you have to take a course from this guru and spend
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, maybe at some point, maybe, but to start, you just need to get to know the basics of something and get to know it really well. So I
Yeah.
took that course on Coursera and I got to know how to make one product really
Mm,
well.
mm,
And then I just started from there.
mm. After taking the Coursera course, did and getting back on Etsy, did you have confidence at that point that you could make it something that would be able to sustain you and your lifestyle, traveling and, just being able to put food on your table?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So when I started, I made like a few products because I was like, oh, maybe I can make this. Maybe I could make t-shirts for coaches. Maybe I can make this for coaches.
Yeah.
And that was just me just thinking too much. So I
Yeah.
said, no, let's start with the first idea, which was trying to create worksheets and those types of documents because I know coaches need that.
Yeah.
So um, I just put it out there and continued, working on my coaching program. And no, I didn't think I would make money from it. I thought it would just be a side thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just be okay. I have one stream of income, which is from my health coaches, from my coaching clients,
Mm-hmm.
and another stream of income, which would be design. And I would just go back and forth. So, no, not at all. But what ended up happening was every day I would wake up and I would have to choose, should I work on creating and designing my coaching program, or should I design? And I always just went straight to designing. And after a while, I was like, I would feel guilty about not working on my coaching program. But then I said, but there's a reason why I'm drawn to design. I
Yeah.
don't even have to think about it. I want to do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to go all in. And I went all in.
Wow. And then how did you segue out of coaching? Like, how did you officially end things with your clients?
So the good thing was that I only had practice clients. I was right
Okay.
at the end of, okay, now you get practice clients, you build your portfolio, and then you start reaching out to people or trying to develop the program because you have to go through certain steps sort of get a following either on social media or build your email list or create challenges to get people
Mm.
on board and then start working through recruiting them or trying to get some of them to on board for your coaching program.
Yeah.
So I was right at the tail end of that. And I was like, I have to either go all in and do all the things I have to do to push my program out there so people can get to know me, and it's not easy. Health coaches have to really do a lot to get
Yeah.
people to get on board with them,
Yeah.
or go with the design. And I just said, you know what, it's going to take a long time. Actually, I didn't quit the coaching per se. I just said I'm just going to shelve this for a few months. Actually, that's what I said. I remember now. And let me just focus on design, see what comes out of it, and I can go back. Since I didn't have any ongoing clients, I had finished up with my practice clients. It wasn't that hard to do.
Okay. And I assume now I understand a bit more why you, because one of the questions I was going to ask was your the templates that you sell in Designs by Darowan, because I know you have another shop which we'll talk about too, are very specifically geared towards health coaches and online wellness businesses. And so I was going to ask how you picked that group of people to serve. And now it makes sense, actually,
Yeah.
just you sharing your story. Yeah.
Why? Yeah. That's why. Exactly.
Yeah. So for someone who is coming in newly, because right now, you probably know Canva templates are like a hot item at this point on Etsy. I mean, you discovered it, I think before it became what it is now. How do you, because I think one of the pitfalls for someone who decides, okay, I want to make Canva templates and sell them on Etsy is, figuring out who to serve. For you, it made sense. What advice do you have for someone who's entering into this arena right now, about, how to be successful in this particular niche? Because there are so many types of templates one can create.
Yeah. Yeah. I would give the same advice that I gave to a friend of mine that's um, here in Spain that I met recently. And he and his girlfriend they're travelers and they're also on the road,
Mm.
traveling from country to country. And I, they were like, oh, they teach online. Teach English is quite common here for people to do that.
Mm.
And they're looking for other ways to make income. And such a proponent for selling digital products.
Mhm.
I try to push it on everyone. I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I annoy people by talking about it so much, but for me, it's a no-brainer. You have an opportunity to create something that you can make once and sell it over and over again.
Yeah.
So, but to segue back to the question, yes, it's very, very crowded. I think I got it right before it got to the peak and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Is to focus on something that you know how to do. So what I told my friend was he speaks, I think, 5 languages, for example. And I said, if you go on Etsy today and search for, I don't know, Hebrew study worksheets, you would find something. You speak German. If you go on Etsy right now and search for something related to learning German, you would find something. So start there. And that's the same thing I would say is that start with something you really have a good handle on. For me, it was easy health coaching. I knew what to make. I didn't have to do a lot of research. What the health coaches need, I knew what they needed.
Yeah.
So same thing with my friend. He speaks so many languages. He teaches languages to different people.
Right.
So he would know what types of worksheets to make for his students. So that's the advice I would give. If you don't have something that you think people would want to buy, but trust me, you just have to go on Etsy and type something related to what you do, hobby or your profession. You'd be surprised what comes up. You don't even need to type worksheet. You just type, lawyer, for example, and see what comes up. You could see Excel spreadsheet for lawyers or, blank template for lawyers to help their clients or like planning templates. You'll be surprised. So I would say start with something you know because it's easier that way.
Yeah.
Don't try to learn something else first. That just takes a long time. And then you get into the trap of, okay, I want to find the best selling product and just
Yeah.
copy that. Is that is not the way to go at all. So that would be my advice. Start with something you know and see what's already out there, what people are searching for, because Etsy is a good place to research what people are searching for.
I love that advice, Darwin. And just to drive that home even more, that makes absolutely, perfect sense because a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of weeks ago from when we're recording this, but if you're listening to this episode, this was episode 354 back in January of 2023. I had a guest on, Allison, aka the Philanthropy Babe, and she is a director at a nonprofit company, and she sells forms, templates for nonprofits that she creates, knowing what types of forms they need and when and how things need to be structured and what have you. And that's what she sells in her Etsy shop, doing really well because that's her thing. That's what she knows. And it just goes to your point of start with what you know, start with what you're comfortable with. And, there is likely an audience and a market for that. I think sometimes we start with the keyword research, which I will admit I have said on the podcast, oh yes, we should do keyword research. But now I'm thinking, like in a situation like this, starting with keyword research might give you what's more popular, which equals what's more competitive, which equals harder to win. Whereas if you start with something that maybe is something not everyone is well versed in, but you are, your people will find you easier. It might not be, cool or hip, to most, but they'll find you.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I like that advice a lot because it's basically what worked for me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So, what was the genesis of D Digital Design? And for anyone who wants to check out Darowan's shops, um, Designs by Darowan is the one we've been talking about up until now. And then she also has a second shop, D Digital Design. It's DEE Digital. I'm sorry, D Digital Studio. It's DEE Digital Studio. And I will link to both of these in the show notes for this episode. But Darwin, how did D Digital Studio come about?
Yeah, so after I had spent a lot of time on my first shop and it was doing quite well, this was around 2021.
Mhm.
I figured I want to make a second shop, but for people that want to buy something really short. So
Mhm.
my first shop was about selling templates,
Mhm.
and you can 550 to 100 page Canva templates and bundles that are even, as much as 1,000 templates in them.
Mhm.
And but there are people that are just looking for a quick form. They want to have let's say they have a shop and they want a form for people to sign in when they're coming in, like a signing
Mhm.
sheet for their business, and they want something cute, but they don't want to design it. So it's really, really short, really easy. And so I started doing that, and that also turned into its own thing. So yeah, the shop is easier for me sometimes because these templates are usually quite short.
Yeah.
Some of them are 1 or 2 pages, and most of these business owners just need something that they just have to put their name in, and it's
Mhm.
good to go.
Mhm.
So that's where that shop came from.
Okay. And these are all again Canva templates, meaning that when someone buys them, they get a link to the template in Canva and then they can customize it to their liking, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I designed it once, and the way Canva is set up now, it wasn't always that way, but you have an option to share a link, and that link is aware that once it's clicked on, it makes a copy of itself. So once you share that
Mm.
link to whoever you're selling it to, immediately they click it, it duplicates itself and it creates a copy to that person's account. So it's actually really very useful.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a lot more difficult, but I actually never had to use the old option, which was you make a copy of the link and tell the person to make a copy and hope that they don't edit the original copy because then
Yes.
it ruins it for everyone.
Yes. I remember reading somewhere, I don't know where I saw it, but apparently that happened to someone, and the person who made it was selling it, but somebody who had bought it had modified it, and everyone was getting the modified
That's
template, and I thought, oh, what a nightmare.
what a nightmare.
But they've improved since then.
Yes, so much. And that's what I love about Canva. That's the other thing I can't shut up about because, yeah, because they're, it's such an amazing program for $10 or 12, I think it's twelve
Mhm.
ninety nine a month. You get so much.
Yeah.
And I've been paying the same amount since I don't know forever. And
Mhm.
they've come up with so many new options that have made my life easier,
Yeah.
which makes my clients' life easier, my customers' life easier. They haven't even raised the price. It's such a tiny investment
Yeah.
for basically changing my life. So it's I love the program. I promote it. I yeah.
Yes, I 100% agree that my subscription to Canva was one of the easiest decisions. Like, I never had buyer's remorse. I've had buyer's remorse so many times over so many things. Canva was not one of them.
Never,
And
never.
just keeping up on all the changes and things that they add to it, it's really good if you stay in the know, because there's so much that you can do that if you don't know, you don't know. And with a tool like that, you really need to know.
Yep. Yep. Every single month they actually release, maybe not every month on the dot, but almost every month there's a new feature
Yeah.
that they have added on.
Now, you're an official Canva designer, right?
Yes.
How did you become that? It seems like such an elite group to be in. And for anyone
So
who doesn't know, that means that all the designs you see, people create them, and Darowan is one of those people that creates all those designs that you see on Canva, the Canva templates when you log in and are looking for stuff. So how did you become an official Canva template designer?
okay, so just to clarify, with Canva, there are two groups of designers. One
Okay.
of them is they have in-house designers,
Okay.
and those are the ones that work for Canva.
Mm.
Then I don't know how many there are. Then they have a separate group, which is what I'm a part of, and we're not hired by Canva,
Mm.
but we're called Canva Template Creators, and it's part of the Canva Creators program. It's actually a beta program. It's still in beta, meaning they're still working through it, but it's been in beta for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe even longer.
Mm.
So I'm a part of that other program, which are people from basically all around the world creating templates for the library, which is why you have just endless supply of templates because you have
Mm.
over 800 of us, maybe
Wow.
something like that, creating templates. So you have the in-house designers that do the basic, okay, we're going to come up with something, they make it, but then when it's time for us to make it, they're like, okay, now this template's available that you can make, and then we all make our versions of it. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So how did I get into it? I was on Canva and I noticed that some of the templates had like a blue sea, which I was used to seeing, which meant that it was designed by an in-house designer. But then I noticed another template had someone's profile. It's like, why does
Mm.
that template have someone profile on it? Same way you probably saw my template and
Yeah.
wondered like so when I clicked on it, I was so curious about things. And I clicked on it and I saw she had a profile. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I did some research and I found out that they were actually accepting people into the beta program. But you had to submit an application, you had to show them your portfolio, you had
Oh,
to show them
wow.
your design style, etc., etc.
Mm.
And I did. And yep, that's how I got in.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it didn't have anything to do with because I know Canva has like an academy if you want to learn how to use
Yeah,
everything within Canva. It had nothing to do with that. You had to come with your own
yes,
designs and say, "Hey, I'm good enough. Take me."
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
believe they're not accepting more people now. At least for the English designers, I'm not sure because they have other markets too that they are open to. So I know for sure it's closed, but I don't know if they're going to open it in the future. But right now, they're not accepting like new applications into the beta program, the Canva Creators Program.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. And that's another thing just to mention because it just came to my mind. If you do have a subscription to Canva and you feel like you're not using it to, its maximum potential, Canva has an academy, free, 100% free, and they take you from, step 0 to advanced stuff. They have like now the AI generated, images you can make. I've actually made tutorial videos on Canva, all inside of it just blows my mind
It's
what you can
incredible.
do. Yeah. And you can learn it all for free within Canva. Like they have, like, if you want to learn how to use a tool, go to the person who made the tool.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So wow, this congratulations again on everything you've done. I'm just
Thank you.
yeah, amazed by it. Okay. So at what point did you feel comfortable that, okay, I know this can work? Now I can, live my life. Like, did you set a specific income goal? You don't have to share numbers, but did you set a specific income goal, or was it sales numbers that you had in mind that you thought, if I can hit this, then I know it's sustainable?
Yep. It's a great question because that was important for me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how much I needed to live abroad
Mm-hmm.
because it's very straightforward. I need money to for my rent and food um, because I don't have bills or loans or any of
Mm-hmm.
those things or a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
My expenses are quite fixed and consistent. So I knew exactly how much I needed to make in order to live in Spain or wherever else I want, which by the way, I plan to travel the world, but I've been in Spain for several years. But that's a
Must be
different story.
nice enough to stay.
Yes. And so I had an income target. So
Okay.
it wasn't the number of sales because for me, I knew how much I needed. And
Mm-hmm.
based on that, you take out taxes, you take out all the other things that, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
all the other things that you take off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I knew that, okay, I needed X amount of money. So when I hit that amount, that's when I knew, okay, I can forget about the coaching. I
Yeah.
put it on the shelf. I took it off the shelf and put it in the bin.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
I focused because I really need to focus. I didn't want to have something in the back of my mind. Oh, you need to go back to coaching. That is a distraction for me. Even though
Yeah.
I wasn't working on it, I needed to just fully commit and know that
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go completely all in.
Yeah.
So when I hit my income target, which it took me, let's see, about 6 months. It
Oh,
took me about
okay.
6 months, yeah. And yeah, about 6 months, I knew for sure I could continue doing this and I would be fine.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Good to know. So now, what does a typical day look like, and how do you manage your time between running the two Etsy shops and just life?
Yes. Okay. So obviously, because I don't have some type of structure,
Mm-hmm.
that's changed and evolved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And although right now, I would say for the past 3 months and probably the next 9 months, I will have a similar structure. And that's because when I came back to Spain, I started taking Spanish classes because I want to improve my Spanish, obviously.
Okay.
because I'm going to be here. And anytime I travel to Spanish speaking countries, I want to be comfortable. So
Mhm.
I take Spanish classes for a few hours during the day, about 3 hours,
Oh,
5 days
wow. That's
a
intense. three
week.
hours? Wow.
And you would expect me to be proficient, but I'm not. But, one step at a time. So that actually is nice because it gives me some structure. So I know,
Yeah.
okay, I have my Spanish classes in the afternoon. I can work from morning up until when I have to leave. So that's what I do. I wake up in the morning and I do my morning routine, whatever I need to take care of. Then I just get to work. And I've tried different methods, to be honest. And I won't say that I'm so, you know, good at, how I organize my day. That would be a lie.
Mhm.
I've tried like time blocking where I'm like, okay, Monday is for design, Tuesday is for blogging, Wednesday is for this. Usually works for about 1 week and then doesn't work anymore. So I usually try to start the month with an idea of what I want. Okay, this month I want to create, you know, two new templates for this shop, and the other one I want to create, six new templates, for example.
Mm,
And
mhm,
maybe I want to have, this and that done. So I have an idea of what I want to do.
mhm.
And when I open my laptop and I do what I'm really drawn to, except I have a deadline on something. Usually I just open my laptop because I have multiple projects I'm working on at the same time. I just I go into Canva and I work on something that really, oh, I really want it. I'm most excited about, and that helps
Mm.
me keep going. And then I restructure my week as I go along. So if I feel like, okay, there's something I really need to refocus on, I do, or maybe I'm working with someone that has a specific request, I can go back to that, things like
Mhm. What do you do if you don't hit your goals?
that. Such a good question, because because I think when I started with Canva and Etsy, the selling my digital products there,
Uh-huh.
it was at the time where lots of businesses were going online. So I did start at a very good,
Mhm.
I got in at the right time because lots of businesses were looking to go online. So there were people were going into the online business space. So
Mhm.
I hit my goals very easily. The following year, I had to, become more creative. So what I'm trying to do now, so what I do when I don't hit my goals, I take a few steps back and try to, okay, what do I need to focus my time on? Because what is tempting to do is to make more. The
Yeah.
more you have, the more sales you make. But when what ends up happening is that you actually get very exhausted.
Yeah.
You get very tired. You can't compete with the rest of the world because there are lots of people that also have the same idea.
Mhm.
So what I try to do is just take a few steps back and say, okay, how can I really focus on the templates that are making, that carry my shop and then create
Mm.
products around that. So if I have like coaches are buying my worksheets, for example,
Mm.
okay, can I create something else that if people buy worksheets, what else would they need? And I create products around that. And hopefully, that might help me boost my sales.
Yeah.
Of course, I do the normal things that people do, which is I have a sale on my shop just to get people around to um, be encouraged to shop in my shop. That's about it. So I try to create new products, but really focused new products, and I run sales in my Etsy shop.
Okay. Um Now, when you first started selling templates, I'm sure there weren't that many people doing it. So how did you figure out what to charge and what was fair, to you and, the customers that you were going to serve?
Yes, exactly. So there weren't a lot of people doing exactly what I was doing,
Hmm.
but there were still similar products.
Okay.
Right. I wasn't the first person to make a client welcome package, for example, which
Mm.
by the way was my first product that I made that sold. And I looked to see what was already um, available at the market.
Yeah.
And I priced it based on something similar. What I tried to do was if there was a template that was comparable, let's say the number of pages that I had, even
Mm.
if it wasn't a specific template that I was selling, but let's say it was a welcome package for, I don't know, for Airbnb host or something like that. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a client welcome package, but just to have something to compare to.
Mm-hmm.
Price it accordingly, maybe a little bit less if I had less number of templates in my bundle, or a little bit more if I had more. So that's what I did. What I try to avoid doing, which is what I encourage people to not do, is down price, like price it
Yeah.
a lot lower, because it's just a race to the bottom for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, so what I do is, and you can keep the price at what you think is competitive price. You could always run sales at the beginning,
Yeah.
um, but with the option of going back to keeping the quality of the prices the way the quality of the product and the prices the way it's supposed to, where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then if, let's say, I was to create another product, I would go based on, okay, if my product is better than something else that is already out there, then I would charge a little bit more. Am I adding bonuses or additional? Maybe I have it in a bundle and the person is only selling one template, I would add a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
In a situation where I am the first person, because it's happened, where I said, you know what, I have an idea, I'm going to create this template. I don't know if anyone wants it, but I feel like creating this and I'm going to create it. I just pick a price that I think is fair, but I tend to go higher, meaning that if no one else is selling, there's no competition, I'm the first person, I go at a good, like higher price than I, not higher price than I normally would, but a competitive price, not too high, but I'm not selling it for a low price just to make it sell, because this is the first product in the market and I see how people respond and I go from there.
Okay. So you get to determine what the
Yes.
market value will be, which I think is kind of nice,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, people can come in and, maybe tank the price or try and be more competitive, but in the beginning, to be able to be the one that sets the pace on this is
Yeah.
what we're charging is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and I also go based on how long it took me to create the template as well. So
Okay.
if I spend, because the templates that is taking me maybe a month to create from
Uh-huh.
start to finish, but some
Oh,
of them can be
wow.
quite comprehensive when you're making, because you're making everything from scratch, you know? What
Yeah.
some people do is they think you can go on Canva and use the template that are already there and create a bundle. You can't do that. It's not
Ah,
how
please, can you say that twice, three times? Yes. I'm
You
like,
cannot do that.
yeah,
There are
yeah.
people that are behind these designs that they don't want you to do that to their templates, trust me. So you have to create from scratch, and you're creating from scratch and you're collecting ideas and inspiration. You It takes a long time, especially if you're creating a template that has, I don't know, 300 different templates. So it takes a long time. And if I invest a lot of time into creating the template, then of course I would price it accordingly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you now dealing with digital products is kind of different from physical products where if someone, well, or maybe not, actually you've done both, so you can speak to this. If someone isn't happy with what they get, how do you deal with that? Because with a digital product, once they have it, and you have to trust that people are going to do the right thing and not just want to get their money back. Have you ever had to deal with situations where a customer wasn't happy, and how did you work around that? Because I feel like, as a digital product seller, you would be at the losing end of that deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I sold physical products, I don't think I ran into a lot of problems. And to be honest, it wasn't a big deal for me. I think I was quite lucky with that. And I did it on and off, so it wasn't as intense.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to digital products, first of all, the first thing I want to say and to make it clear, most people are not trying to lie or trying to
Yeah.
work the system. I
Yeah.
would say the majority of people that come to you with a problem, it's because they have a problem.
Yeah.
Once you remember that, it's easier to approach the situation differently. If you come with the mindset of, okay, this person is trying to get a free product or they're trying to work the system, it can affect how you communicate with them. And you can
Mm-hmm.
actually get really embarrassed when you find out like this person is actually struggling with a problem,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I have found. So that's the one thing I try to come with that mindset, because when I have a problem, I dig into it. It's usually because the person is struggling. Maybe 0.5% of the time, it's someone that's trying to get, a free template or something.
Yeah.
So what I do is, first, I put that in mind. Secondly, what I think about is, okay, this is an opportunity. This customer has a problem. This is an opportunity for me to show up so they know who I am. They don't know who I am. They have my shop. They know my shop. They bought something.
Yeah.
Now they're going to really know who I am, which is I'm going to give them excellent customer service.
Yeah.
It's almost like a chance. I say, wow, actually, I'm okay. I don't like the fact that I had a problem, but I'm happy to show up with this opportunity because it gives me a chance to prove myself and tell them that I will provide excellent customer service. So that's what I do.
Okay.
And I contact them first and I try to solve the problem. And a lot of time, I would say 99% of the time, it's an easy problem to solve.
Mm.
However, there is that 0.5 or 1% where there's nothing you can do to please them. They've downloaded a product and they say, oh, I changed my mind, or something else. I would, again, try conversation. If that doesn't work, they're free to escalate to Etsy. I usually refer them that route. If they feel
Really?
there's something that I can't solve,
Uh-huh.
I say you can work it up with Etsy and see what they want. But if you've downloaded a product, really you can't get a refund if that's what they're going for. And Etsy usually takes care of it.
Oh,
So I've had a
wow.
situation where, yeah, someone really wanted a refund. He downloaded the product and he said, well, I saw what I bought, but I don't think I'm going to use it for my business. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but what you bought is the description is exactly what you were, what expected. It
Mm.
wasn't anything new. He was like, yeah, I know, but I really don't think I'm going to use it, so I want my money back. So I
Oh,
said,
okay.
yeah. I said, I'm sorry, I can't really help you, but you're free to talk to escalate it to Etsy, which he did, and they actually refunded him. But they refunded him from their buckets, not from my buckets. So I guess
Oh.
yeah, they have a bucket of funds that they try to keep their customers happy. So it's
Huh.
like a win-win for both of us. In that case, I was comfortable with that option because I really tried to help him. Short of just giving him his money back when I knew he wanted it because he changed his mind.
Yeah.
And I think that was warranted for me to do
Okay.
that. And I would say too, one time I received a 1-star review from someone that said, I never received the template. I'm like, okay. She clearly, or he clearly downloaded the template.
Mm-hmm.
So I submitted it to Etsy and they removed the review.
Wow. Okay. When when cases get, I know I'm like, oh my goodness, so many questions. When cases get referred to Etsy, which I love the confidence with which you say, and I would ask them to escalate it to Etsy, I'm like, oh no. Because we're also scared, like, oh no, what's going to happen to us? Um, does it in any way negatively impact you as a seller when when Etsy gets involved?
To be honest, I'm not sure. But
Mm.
when I get to the point that I'm encouraging the person to escalate it, I'm
Yeah.
usually 110% sure that the problem is not from my end. And I've
Mhm.
usually tried everything that I can to resolve the conflict within my capacity. So at that point, I know any reasonable person, even from the Etsy team, would look at the conversations, look at the
Yeah.
transaction, and know that I tried everything in my power. And if it was
Okay.
to negatively affect me, that would be unfortunate. But
Right.
at that point, it's really like I know I have done everything.
Yeah.
You
Okay. And it's true. You're right. Etsy does have access to see the conversations that you have with your customers. So it makes sense that if they feel that you have tried, that they can dip into that, secret pot of gold and, just give back the money and it doesn't come out of your pocket. So you're not out anything because you don't deserve to be.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. I feel like I had heard that there was a fund reserved for, that Etsy uses to give customers back without taking it back from the buyers.
Yeah.
And you just confirmed that.
To be honest, I didn't know when I sent that person to Etsy. I was I didn't know what else to do. I did not know that they would refund him. To be honest, I thought Etsy would tell him to stop bugging me
Yeah,
because he really
take a hike.
didn't have the right to asking me for a refund when he clearly says, yes, your template was exactly how you described, but I'm
Oh,
not going to use it. So
uh,
in that situation, I thought maybe Etsy would just say, no, stop. But they
okay.
gave him his money back. So I didn't know at the time that that's what they were going to do. But I guess
Yeah,
that's what that fund is for.
yeah. And so when they closed it out, they told you how they resolved it, and they were the ones who told you we have refunded him, but not we didn't take the money from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. So let's talk next about Etsy shop promotion. Do you find that you have to do a lot of promotion of your shops right now, or have they just gained enough momentum that you know they're running on SEO juice and you don't do much?
Yes, to be honest, I have tried to do what people normally say you should do, which is social media
Mm-hmm.
or Pinterest. I think Pinterest is the one that I have put in more effort and time and even some money, and it
Yeah.
hasn't returned anything equivalent to it. I think there are
Wow.
times when I did Pinterest, and I don't know if it's I just haven't figured out the magic of Pinterest because everyone says Pinterest. I'm like, yeah, Pinterest, let's go. And when I put in effort or I don't put in effort, the result is the same. So
Mm.
I've given up for now. If someone has like the secret sauce or the magic behind Pinterest, I mean, I will try it, but I've tried. And social media, I don't do as much. Again, it's the same with Instagram. I did for a little bit, but it just seemed like you have to sort of post something a lot, post everything. I didn't think that it was giving me the return that
Yeah.
I needed. So I really have relied on just Etsy SEO.
Mhm.
So I don't do any promotion outside of that.
Okay.
Um, but we'll talk about my website now, which is what I'm trying to focus on this year. Yes.
Absolutely. Let's go for it because that was my next question.
Yeah, so obviously the past 2 years I've just really put my heart and soul into Etsy, and I'm
Mhm.
grateful, to be honest, for what they've done. Without the platform, without Canva, I wouldn't be able to live almost 2 years abroad,
Mm.
not working my full-time job that I did when I was in the States. So it really is, lots of people complain about Etsy, and maybe they have some right to complain, or maybe not. But for me, it's given me more than it's given me a lot to
Yeah.
be grateful for. So Etsy, if you're listening, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Etsy.
So to my website this year, I am trying to um, I have had the website on and off but not really focused on it. So
Mhm.
this year I'm trying to build it up and work on email marketing. So I took
Mm.
a course to learn about email marketing because again I really haven't learned a lot about that before. And so I built my website. And what I'm trying to focus on my website is just memberships where people can subscribe and they have access to a bunch of templates at one
Oh,
time. So they're not trying to say, oh, do I need this? Do I need that? So I'm sort of thinking about maybe some type of monthly membership for
okay.
my website, which I think would be helpful for coaches because the other thing too is things change over time, especially when you're working with digital templates and information. So you want to ensure that people that are using it have something fresh and new every month, every few months. So that's what I'm thinking of having a membership for health coaches and other types of coaches so they can choose. And the other thing is for my website, I'm thinking of focusing on more ready to use templates, more like done for you. So try to
Right.
research certain very common topics and try to research, get some content that's high quality and make that so all the coach has to do is to tweak it a little bit, tweak the language to their niche or their clientele, and then download the template and it's ready to go. So it saves them a lot of time. So that's where my focus is this year.
Okay. Okay. So I assume you're having to learn also search engine optimization to figure out how to drive traffic to to your
Yes.
shop, as I mean, not to your shop, but to your website as well. And for everyone who wants to check out Darowan's website, it's designsbydarowan.com. And let me spell that. I just realized someone might be looking you up and not know how to spell Darowan. Darowan is spelled Darwan. So Designs by Darowan, DESIGNSBYDAROWAN.com. And I will also have a link to Darowan's website in the show notes for this episode. So search engine optimization, e-commerce, I suppose, and in addition to email marketing, those are things that you're, I guess, trying to familiarize yourself with.
Exactly. And I'm just starting with having the website set up and putting some products there, thinking about what I want to, because I want it to be slightly different from my, storefront on Etsy. I wanted to have higher quality products and just really more tailored to the coaches. So it's clean, it's not cluttered. They can come in, get the individual products they want, or just sign up for the membership. And also just thinking about creating an avenue, which is the blogging, which would give them information, but also trying to see how I can write blogs that support them, but also support my products, so it's a win-win for both of us. So that's what I'm working on. It's a learning curve, but it's fine. I can learn.
Yes.
Not a problem.
And did you go back to Coursera to get educated on these things?
No. This time I actually bought a course on, this was for email marketing. I bought a course because I couldn't find anything that I thought was good enough. And to be honest, stuff changes a lot with stuff like, email marketing
It
and marketing
does, yeah.
strategies that I felt it was good enough to invest some money in that. As far
Okay.
as the website, I have gone back and forth between Squarespace and WordPress. That I don't want to talk about WordPress. I have
I was going to ask you, yes, what platform is this that, is doing all this? You can do the
yes.
emails, the blogging, e-commerce. Yeah, go on, please.
This is my new found love. So I have Canva is like up there,
Uh-huh.
and this website is getting up there. It's called PayHip. You ever heard of it?
I have, and believe it or not, like towards the end of last year, I was looking at it too because I thought, is this too good to be true, or does this
Yes,
really do everything that? And
yes,
it's clean, it's easy,
yes,
but you speak to it because you're actually using it.
yes. That's exactly how I felt about it. And in some ways, I'm kind of afraid. I almost want to talk about it a lot so people can join because I don't want the business to crumble because it's really good. It really is good. You can sell, first of all, if you are just looking to set up something, even if it's just for blogging, this is not, this is an e-commerce website. It's supposed to compete with something like Shopify, but
Shopify.
they're quite small. Okay.
Yeah.
Shopify is quite big, they're quite small, but
Yeah.
just to give you an idea of what you can do. But you can just set it up just for blogging because you can build it bit by bit. You don't have to
Mm.
release a product. You can just set it up, connect all the stuff you need to connect to it, and use it for blogging. When you're ready, you can add products to it.
Mm.
And it's so easy to use. The interface is so clean. You can change things very, very quickly. You can customize it. It's not as robust as Shopify or Squarespace. But
Yeah.
when you're just starting out, you really don't need something very,
Yeah.
very robust,
Yeah.
especially if you're not sure what you're doing and you're going to make changes along the way. So I recommend
Wow.
it. I love it. And the best part is, when you're trying to sell digital products, you can list the digital products. You only pay when it sells.
That was my next question was, yeah, well, how much does it cost? Because Shopify charges you a flat monthly fee. And I think it doesn't matter how much you sell, but you just have to pay every month. But with PayHip, from what I recall reading, it's free.
Mhm. You have the option of selecting a paid, so that they have the tiers. There's a free tier
Oh,
where it's free, but if you sell something, you pay 5%.
okay.
Okay, that's fine. And then you can pay a certain amount, maybe starts at 29.99. I'm not sure right now because
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on the free plan. And then every time your product sells, you pay a lot less. So when
Oh,
you're just
okay.
starting out and you don't know, it makes sense to start on the free plan. As you grow, you can go on the paid plan, so you pay less per product when you sell it. So for me, it's a no-brainer to pay 5% when I sell a product and just stay on the platform for
For
free. So I
free.
can
Yeah.
blog, I can do everything and not pay anything until I sell a product, which is sounds too good to be true. Exactly.
Yeah. So with the blogging, can you do that on the free plan
Yep.
also?
Mhm.
Man, I'm so afraid they're going to change this. You know how you're like, this is too good to be true. Are you sure, guys?
I know. Go if you're listening and you're not sure, go open an account. Trust
Yeah.
me, it's really good. It is. It sounds too good to be true. And maybe this is, some of these companies that do this because they're new and they're
Trying to gain traction.
exactly trying to gain traction.
Yeah.
So maybe this might change. I don't know, but
Yeah.
right now you can do that.
Okay. And I was going to ask another question. Okay, so they have you can either pay as you go or rather pay as you sell or free.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the other question. So I know a lot of free platforms will you have to get their not have to, but I guess to stay free, your domain name will be something like designs by Darowan dot payhip.com.
Yeah.
Does Payhip on the free plan allow you to have a custom domain?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yes. So first of all, when you open the account, you have the payheap dot whatever your shop name is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And then you have the option of porting in your domain name, which I've had designs for Darowan for many years
uh-huh.
because it's gone through WordPress and Squarespace and Shopify at some point.
Oh yeah, okay,
So
great. So you own it, so you just move it.
yeah, exactly. So I
Nice.
just moved it to PayHip, and now I have Designs by Darowan, and it is. And recently, which I was surprised they did that. I'm not sure why they would. At the bottom, a lot of these websites, you would see right at the bottom, it tells you powered by
Yeah.
something, which they have powered by PayHip. And for me, the website was quite clean. They had a small powered by PayHip at the bottom, and I didn't care about that
Uh-huh.
because it's fine. They gave the option recently that you can remove that.
For free?
Yes.
What? WordPress doesn't do that.
So no one
Wow.
would know that it's a PayHip website, which for me I was
Yeah.
fine, but to give you the option, okay, you can remove it. It looks like your own thing.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, I have to say, towards the end of the year, well, okay, let me see. Like middle of the year, I was starting to lean towards Squarespace because I've always hosted on WordPress. And you know the WordPress headaches. I don't need to tell you.
No.
WordPress, oh my goodness. And so then I was looking at Squarespace. I'm like, oh yeah, Squarespace is nice. It has lots of features, all that, but it's kind of pricey, and once you're in there, you have to commit to it,
Yeah.
and it's good because it gives you a lot too. But you also have to learn it as well.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled on Payhip, and I was like, wait, what? Is this real? Like, are they for real? It's like, are they really offering all this? You can sell products, and
Yeah.
they take, yeah, it's 5%, but I mean, seriously, people, eBay takes 10, Etsy takes what,
Exactly.
6.5, almost 10 really when you add in everything. So it's like there's a
Exactly.
cost of doing business. Let's just all come to terms with that and
Yeah.
be okay. So
Yep.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
good
they
to
have
know.
a Facebook group where you can ask questions and they're really responsive. It's really nice.
Mm.
It really is.
That's nice. Now I'm just waiting for them to add on, like you can host your podcasts here, or you can do your, and I'll be like all in, because that's always my
Yeah,
thing is like, okay, what am I going to do with the podcasts? Like,
yeah,
can
I know.
I still put them on? And there are ways around it. Like now that they allow blogging, I know I can play with
Mhm.
custom HTML, but that's the kind of thing with WordPress I'm trying to get away from. Yeah.
And I think that, to be honest, I don't want to put it out there as a solution for everyone, because
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
things that you can do with Squarespace and Shopify that PayHip cannot do.
Yeah.
But if you are just starting out and you're trying to figure things out and you're not sure if you're going to change your mind or change what you offer, it's a very, very good place to just start instead of procrastinating and thinking and ruminating and, oh, should I
Mm-hmm.
do this? Should I do Squarespace? Should I do Shopify? Should I do the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Just start with PayHip and see where it goes.
Yeah. Good idea, man. I like it. I think I will look into it more, just, for other things, because it's uh, plus it's a me thing. I love shiny new things.
Me
It's like,
too.
oh, I need to try this, and what can I
That's
do
the
with
other
this? Yeah. Um. So now, Darren, you also have a Facebook group.
thing.
Um. And it's directed towards your target audience. Is
Hmm.
it a group where you educate your health coaches and wellness business owners, and from there do you get clients, or is it set up such that after someone has interacted with you and becomes a client, it's somewhere they can go to for more support and what have you?
Very good question, because when I first started the group, um, I I think I was looking for it as a sort of like an avenue to attract coaches and then
Hmm.
introduce my products to them.
Okay.
As I started growing, I focused more on, well, lots of people that when you buy my products, it recommends, okay, here's your product, here's your Canva link. Also, if you want, you can join the Facebook group. So
Nice.
lots of people came through that as well. So I
Okay.
think my focus is more of serving my clients. Now, I've made it closed before where I just wanted to focus on just people coming for my purchases, but then I reopened it just because I feel it's also nice to have a presence out there. If people want to join, they can. I was just worried about people joining and try to sell, their stuff, which they have,
Right.
and I usually just delete the post and move on.
Okay. Okay.
And so what I've done now, it's a place where lots of people that are there have bought my products, and if
Hmm.
they have questions, they can ask. I used to have routine tutorials. I haven't done that in a while, but just have a tutorial. If there's an update on Canva, have you heard about this new feature?
Yeah.
And I educate them on it. So
Okay.
again, this year, that's part of my plan, is to how can I really serve the people on Facebook, and how can I also serve my business, because I need to find a balance between the two.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of finding balance, um, how do you what works for you with finding balance and staying focused um in your business and on your business? Have you found any things that work, any routines, anything that, you know,
Yeah.
works?
First of all, for me, my motivation is so clear and so strong, which is
Mhm.
I want the option to live where I want, when I want.
Mhm.
Meaning that if I want to be in Spain, I want to be in Spain. If I want to be somewhere else, I think 2021, I spent 3 months just traveling, and
Mhm.
I was working on my Etsy stuff, but I took the train from Sweden all the way to the south of Italy, and it
Mhm.
was over like a month I did that. So that is my motivation. If I
Mhm.
want to spend a month traveling in Europe or Asia or wherever I choose, I want to be able to do that. So that is my motivation. So
Mhm.
that's pretty easy for me to keep, waking up wanting to do this.
Yeah.
And as far as staying focused, for me, I design is something I really enjoy,
Yeah.
honestly. And not everyone has something like that. But for me, it's something that, oh, okay, I'm going home. Oh, I have an idea. I can't wait to start working on it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very easy to focus, because actually I have the opposite problem. Sometimes I need to stop. Sometimes I need to stop And that's the difference between doing something that you really enjoy versus just doing something to get by.
Yeah.
For me, focus and motivation, that comes easy. What comes hard is trying to, okay, strategically create things and not waste my time creating something, for example, that no one wants or buys, because that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just the strategy and the business part and dealing with piracy and
Oh, yeah.
things like that. Yeah. But as far as like, okay, I want to focus on my business, that part's easy because I really, really, truly enjoy it.
Okay. I like that. Um, Speaking of products that you spend time creating and no one wants, how do you deal with those? Do you just let the listing end and then you don't renew them, or do you just keep them up there and hope that eventually the right buyer will come along?
Well, I have to say the right buyer never comes along. If they so I think Etsy plays this game when I think this is how it works. And, I think when you create a new product, you're like, oh, new shiny product, let's show it to people.
Uh-huh.
And if no one wants it, they just bury it and it never shows up again. So it never changes. So with a digital product, it's easy. I could leave it, or I could say, okay, maybe it was just the mock-up,
Mm,
how it was presented. So I have done that before where I would just change the mock-up. Okay,
okay.
maybe this can represent the design, and sometimes it's helped, sometimes it hasn't.
Okay.
So, but if after a year, because I think what you get 6 months per
Ooh.
listing, after it renews twice and it's still like no one wants it, then
Yeah.
I accept.
Yeah. Accept
I,
defeat.
I accept defeat and I end the listing. But I usually give it some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm like you in that I've gone 3 cycles, but I think now I'm going down to 2 cycles. Like, okay, because each one is 4 months. I'm like, okay, it's over half a year. Nobody wants this. It's a dud. We're done. Um, what looking over your time on Etsy, what are some things that you can look back at and say that you feel you did that have, in retrospect, helped to set you up to be successful on Etsy?
Hmm. Let's see. I would think that again,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on my client and just really trying to think of, okay, what would a coach need? I know some of the things, but because I'm not really coaching people, sometimes I really have to think about what they would need. So really focusing on my clients and not getting too distracted. It's easy to say, oh, actually, I should make templates for realtors now because I could just recycle my templates, but that's not a good idea. So I try to just stick to my people
Mm-hmm.
and try to think of what they need and try to create value around what I already have. So one thing that I know coaches like to do is to buy, because sometimes when you're starting, you don't know what direction you're going to go with your business. So they like to buy bundles. They just buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they use what they use and they don't have to think about, okay, should I buy this now or buy that now?
Yeah.
So I try to create value around some of the things and I create bundles. So I create one product, then I create something else related to it, and I release it over time. Then I bundle it all up and I
Okay.
give them sort of like a big discount. So that has really helped me again, just trying to also listen to them. Sometimes when they ask a question, they're asking because they have a problem, and that problem could be a product.
Mm.
So I try to listen if they have a question, or maybe just, oh, I thought this was included in the package, or this is missing. Okay. I use that as an idea generating opportunity. So
Yeah.
just thinking about ways to just focus, um, create value for them, and come up with new ideas.
Okay. I like that. Um, Makes sense. What is something you learned the hard way when it came to selling on Etsy?
I think you already know about that. piracy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially, like you said, with digital products, it's
Digital products.
rampant.
I mean, it's unbelievable. At first, I thought piracy only happened to really the big shops, the
Mm,
popular ones. Of course, people
yeah.
copy them, they're so successful. No,
Oh.
not at all. It happened to me even before I was anything. And I
Mm.
was like, why me? Why are you copying me? I mean,
How did you find how did you find that someone had ripped off your designs?
yes, the first time was, I think I was just searching to see where my product would come up, which I know doesn't make any sense because the search thing doesn't really work that way. But sometimes I do just for fun.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, this looks like my product, but it's not me.
Wow. Was it
And
identical?
one person actually took my listing products, cropped it, took the markups, cropped it a little bit, and did a really bad Photoshop job. Like
Mm.
on top of the text, put their own text. I don't know what they program they use, but it looked not good. But it was my markup.
Wow.
And so I just emailed them and they took it down.
Mm.
And then there was somebody else that was selling it, my exact product. What they did was, because I also list my products on other websites, like I actually have a profile on Creative Market, and I have one
Okay.
on Design Bundle as well. I don't really use Design Bundle and the other ones as much. Creative Market I do because that's for designers.
Hmm.
Anyway, the person found one of my designs that I put on one of those smaller platforms,
Hmm.
and they just downloaded it and went to my actual Etsy listing, downloaded copied my mockup, and just listed it as their
You
own.
are kidding.
Yeah. So I just explained to them that that's not right. You can't do that. And they took it down. And after a while, it just became so rampant that I stopped. And actually, yes, twice someone else sent me a message. One was a random person, said, I saw your design. I know this is not you. Take a look. And one was
Mm.
another Etsy seller saying, I saw your design. This person copied you. Take a look. So,
Whoa.
yeah,
That is wild. I mean, I know it happens, but I didn't realize that, like, actual customers help,
yeah,
others and
yeah,
say, hey,
yeah.
look,
That
this
was
person
really
is
nice.
ripping you off. Go.
Yeah, yeah. Especially the Etsy seller to Etsy seller. That's really nice. So I've done that too. I saw
Yeah.
a design. I'm like, that belongs to somebody else. I know because I know that other designer's
Mm.
style. They're my competitor, but I know their style, and that doesn't belong to you. And I would I would just send them a message. This person is, and usually when they copy one person, they're copying other people. So I would go to
Yeah.
their shop,
Yeah.
click on their what they're selling, and I would find. Actually, I think once I found they were copying multiple sellers, so I just emailed all of them. Yeah. And then
Wow.
what happened? This was very recent, which was quite unfortunate because this was another Etsy seller that had a quite big shop, but she bought one of my templates and just relisted it. And
What?
yeah. And I said, at first I didn't know. I just saw that I was like, this listing looks very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, this person just didn't just look at my markup and remake it. There were certain things that were they have to have had access
Mm.
to my template, but I wasn't sure.
Hmm.
And I was just gonna send her a message saying this looks really similar to mine. I don't know. And when I clicked on sending a message, I saw a recent purchase. I saw she bought from me a few days ago.
Oh
So
my goodness. The
yeah, yeah.
boldness. I
So I just sent her a message to take it down. And
Wow.
I also just filed a IP claim on Etsy and they took
Okay.
it down.
And did it work?
Yeah, yeah, they took it down.
Wow, the boldness. I'm like,
Yeah.
at least create a second
I know.
account and
No,
don't just be
I'm not
so
saying you
obvious.
should do that, but if you are
I'm not,
going to
yeah,
do
thank you. Exactly. At least try and be slick. Don't put some effort into your theft. Don't.
that,
Wow. Amazing.
exactly.
Okay. So, uh, selling on Etsy. All right. Something that you really enjoy. What's something you really enjoy? And are there any features you would like to see them add to the platform?
All right. So one thing I would say, again, Etsy is not perfect,
Uh-huh.
but really, it is so easy to come up with an idea, set up your shop. So if you already have a shop, it's even easier. If you don't have a shop, it doesn't take that long. Set up a shop and start selling immediately.
Yeah.
You don't have to design an amazing logo. I designed my logo almost, what is it? It's going on 3 years. I haven't even I should update it, by the way. I haven't. You don't have to have a great logo. You can go on Canva, find something, modify it, put it up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You can find a banner, modify it quickly, put it up
Yeah.
there. You don't have to do much. You have an idea, you create a product, it can be up and running. You can test your ideas very, very quickly. I love that about Etsy, which is why, again, I tell people that I meet, you want to start making money online and you're traveling, you're thinking of what to do, open an Etsy shop.
Mm.
And lots of people are like, what's Etsy?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Etsy. So I love that. It's so easy. The
Yeah.
friction between idea to product is very low, which
Yeah.
is nice. There are many things that I think maybe they can change. But the one thing that I would say is I wish they had different tiers for or options for licensing. Some of the products I sell, like if you have you ever been on Creative Market?
I have.
Yes. Creative Market has that tiers, the different tiers that you can select if it's a personal use or if it's commercial and if it's like super commercial, something like that. Extended commercial use. And I wish they had that because it makes it difficult. This is industry standard actually when someone is buying something if they want a commercial license to be able to use the product to create some end product that they intend on reselling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then they should have that option. I wish they did. For sure, on my website, I will have that set up so
Oh,
someone can
yeah.
feel comfortable buying
Yeah.
what they need. It doesn't mean they can resell my product, but it means that they can use it for their business, which is what the
Yeah.
commercial license allows you to do.
Yeah. I've actually seen some people create a separate listing for
Yeah,
the license, which, I've often thought, like, do people really go the extra mile to
yeah.
pay
That's why
for?
I don't bother with Etsy. Yeah,
Yeah.
but on Creative Market, people do. People do. They would buy the commercial license,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I like.
And I guess it's also, a mindset too for each platform. Like on Etsy, people don't think, well, that they need to buy the
Hmm.
license to use something commercially, whereas on Creative Market, I think it's set up in that way where they make it obvious to you as a customer, hey, if you want to use this, to create your own designs or incorporate into something you're doing, you need a license. Here,
Yep.
buy the license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That
What
would be
advice, Darowan, do you have for I would like you to give advice to like a veteran seller. I think a lot of what you've said already is good information for new sellers just to, figure things out. But for veteran sellers who have, been on the platform a while, things might feel like they're getting kind of stale right now. What would you say to them? Is it time to expand? Is it time to rejig your shop? From your perspective, what advice would you give that person?
Okay. So it's easier to advise a beginner, right? Not
I
someone
know.
tell them do what I did.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But I think for a veteran, because I'm not like a veteran, but I've been
Mhm,
doing this consistently for 2+ years, and
mhm,
I've been successful, relatively successful. So
mhm,
I think that it's the same advice I would give to myself, which is trying to do okay, you're doing the same thing you're doing, maybe it's working, maybe things are beginning to slow down, which really actually happened to me last year, if I'm being honest.
mhm.
Is okay, I'm trying to learn new skills. I know that there's still a market for what I'm doing, but how can I still be excited about creating things knowing that people want the things that I want to buy, and that is just putting myself outside of my comfort zone, which is going out there to learn new skills.
Mm.
And for me, what that is, well, I want to learn how to make my own illustrations, for example, because that gives me a little bit more flexibility with some of the things that I want to make. So if I want to make something, I could use Canva, but there's some things that are missing that I really can't make it exactly as custom as I want. If I can learn how to illustrate, digital illustration,
Mm.
I could really stand out from the crowd. So
Mm.
just maybe taking a step back, the advice is taking a step back to see, do you need to learn a new skill
Mm.
that you can bring into your business to take it to the next level? That would be the advice that I would give, because that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I like that. I don't think many people have said go learn something new. But yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um to wrap up, I know you've mentioned of course we talked I think about Payhip and Canva. Are there any other tools that you find have been particularly helpful in just running your business, keeping things, going smoothly and what have you that you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, of course. And I am a tech lover.
Yeah.
I've always been very, very into new technology, anything new and shiny. Even when I worked at the university, I was always, how can you use tech more in education? I
Mm-hmm.
actually created a presentation for my colleagues. Technology in the classroom, how can we do more of that? Because I really enjoy tech. So,
Yeah.
of course, I would love to share some of the things that I use. So, Canva,
Yeah.
of course, pay the monthly subscription or pay once a year because I think it's a little bit cheaper and you save money. You will get value out of it.
Uh-huh.
Notion. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know if you've used Notion or some people that are listening might use it. It is amazing.
Yeah.
You've heard of it or you use it or what's?
I have heard of it and I've I've started using it. I haven't used it a whole lot, but I know of it and I'm just a little bit familiar.
Yeah, Notion is tricky because when you start, it might look like this is nothing,
Like there's not
or
I was just about to say it looks like nothing in the beginning.
it could be. It depends on how you're exposed to it. If you're exposed to the nothing area, it's like, okay, what is this? Why are people crazy about it?
Yeah.
Or it might be overwhelming if you see someone else's template that has been
Yes.
built from scratch.
Yeah.
So Notion is just this blank slate that you can build from scratch that really works for you.
Yeah.
Or you can buy a template, which I have also created and sold Notion templates. So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
But I like Notion because you can use it for everything. Everything. I use it to organize my entire life.
Yeah.
Um,
I know I've
I
heard people just like Notion runs their lives and I'm like,
Yep,
what?
yep,
Yeah.
yep. That's me. That's me. Yep, that's me. And other thing that I use again now, really focusing my Etsy business is Loom to record,
Okay.
screen record.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have to maybe help someone figure something out either on Canva or just trying to get their products out of Etsy, how to download, how to fix, how to change.
Hmm.
It's very easy, very quick. You just hit because I have the extension on my Chrome. I just hit
Okay.
that little extension and I start recording my screen. It's just so painless.
Hmm.
You can share a link to the screen recording to your customer, so I love it. I actually pay for it, but you don't have to.
I
You
was just
just
about to ask, yeah, is it free? It's
you can use the free version. You only get 5 minutes per recording. I think
oh.
it's 5 minutes, and then you have to record again. So if you're doing quick, short recordings here or there, you can get away
Mhm.
with the free one. But I just pay for it as a
Okay.
business expense. It's worth it for me.
Is the only
And
way, I'm sorry, Darowan, is the only
no,
way
go
to
ahead.
share Loom videos using the link? Can you upload the videos like say to YouTube or something?
Absolutely, you
Okay.
can, and I do that too because
Okay.
part of my YouTube channel is making tutorials, and I use Loom for that reason, that purpose. You
Oh,
can
got it.
download it. You can
Hmm.
also embed the videos as well into your website because it gives you like the embed code. So yeah,
Okay.
it's very flexible.
Okay. Okay. And you can embed without having to, because in my head, when I've tried to embed before, I'm like, okay, I'll upload it to YouTube, then I'll grab the embed code. But with Loom, you don't even need.
No, yeah, you
YouTube as
skip that
a
step. Exactly. You skip
okay.
that step because it gives you
Okay.
the option of grabbing the actual link, which is just a regular link that you can
Mm-hmm.
send to someone, or you can grab the embed code that you can embed in your website,
Mm-hmm.
or you can download the video and upload it into YouTube and then grab the embed, which is you don't have to do that,
Okay.
but you have
Are
to
the
do it.
videos hosted on in the Loom's cloud?
Yes, they
Oh,
are. If
got
you
it.
download it, they
Okay.
are. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sorry, please carry on with the resource
Yes.
tools. Uh-huh.
So Loom is I use it very frequently, so it's up there.
Mm.
If you make templates like I do, digital templates, smart mockups is very helpful. They actually integrate with Canva right now, but
Yeah.
I use it outside of Canva because they have a lot more outside of Canva. So
Okay.
smart mockups is a good one. And I use Keynotes. The good old Keynotes is
Yeah.
I have MacBook and Keynote is amazing. I did not know how amazing it was because I use it for certain products that I make. I don't only use Canva, so
Okay.
Keynote I use as well. And I use eRank for my research, my keyword research, and
Yeah.
all
Wow, thank you. That's a lot of
that.
tools. I
Yeah,
like
I
it.
use a lot more, but this is a short list.
This is the abridged list.
Yes,
I have to
yes.
have you back on just to go through all the tech tools that you use because I'm a tech junkie too. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I love trying new things and playing around with things too. But this is very helpful.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
I mention PayHip? Did I forget to mention
I'm not sure
PayHip?
we talked about that for like 20 minutes. No, maybe
Okay.
not. But
Huh.
PayHip is definitely on the list. Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about PayHip? What's your favorite feature?
It's just so easy,
Mm,
so painless.
yeah.
The friction, there is very little friction from I need to do something to done.
Oh, I like
Yep.
that's an ad right there for PayHip.
Yeah. PayHip if
Yes,
you're
like
listening.
little friction from I need to do something to done. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. I'm going to play around with it a bit more because, and see, this is what I do. I don't necessarily have a reason to, but I will create a reason to create a site on PayHip just to play with it. Darowan, do you have any Etsy shop shout outs?
Um, oh my gosh, no, I don't.
Okay, that's
I
okay.
do not, but I would have loved to. I guess I wasn't prepared for that.
I know. I don't always mention it ahead of time, but yeah, no worries at all. Um what is the best way if folks want to connect with you, if they have more questions for you or just want to check out more of what you're doing? Where do you want to direct them to?
Yes. And before I say that, can I tell you about I have a freebie for your listeners.
Absolutely, please do.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I know that of course you have a wide range of listeners. So this freebie is only going to benefit people that have digital template shops or that are
Okay.
digital creators. So I have a markup set that I am going to have a link for so they can download. It's made in Canva. So
Oh,
if you sell
nice.
tools or work planners or worksheets, things like that, you'll be able to use the markup to create it. These are the markups I actually use for my own listing.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm giving a bundle of them. I think there are about 25 different layouts there for
Whoa.
free for your listeners. So I hope that it helps you because I struggled with markups when I started in the beginning. And yeah, I hope this helps. So if you need to reach me, you can,
Oh,
of
wait,
course,
Darwin, how do they get the mock-ups?
or I will send a link to you
Oh, okay, okay, wonderful.
in the show notes. Yeah, because it's one of those links that it's a long link.
Oh, yes, okay, all
Yeah,
right. So
customize.
please, yeah, if you go to convome.com and this is episode 363, I will have the link to the mockups. You guys, like if you sell digital products, this is a Canva template, like an official Canva template designer who is making these for you. So thank you, Darowan. I haven't even seen them, but I'm already excited about them. So thank you so much for sharing
Yes,
those.
yes, yes. And then if you want to reach me, you can just find me on Designs by Darowan, basically everywhere. Designs by Darowan, my website. I have my Canva accounts for my Canva templates that I make, free and paid templates on Canva. It's also Designs by Darowan, and my Instagram, which I don't use as much, is Designs by Darowan, but my YouTube and my other Instagram that I'm more active on is just Darowan Explores, because I'm still exploring life and trying to figure out, my life, just like
Yeah.
everyone else. So I am Darowan Explores on YouTube and on Instagram, and Designs by Darowan everywhere else.
Okay. Wow, lots of places to find you. I will link to all of them, and so folks can connect with you, check out what you're doing, check out where you are in the world and where you've been in the world. I know you guys need to check out, and I'll put a link to Darowan's YouTube channel. She's gone to some really interesting places, and I'm like, why am I just sitting here in America? There's so much world out there. So I'm so impressed at, that you have created this life for yourself, and you did what you intended to do, and you keep your big why in front of you, and that just drives everything else, and you're able to create not just a successful business, but then also a fulfilling life, and a business that supports that. So congratulations on that, and thank you so much for sharing this whole journey with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and it's been fun having this conversation with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it too. And I thank you for listening to the podcast. Again, if you enjoy these types of conversations and you want to hear more of them and would like to support the podcast, please go to convome.com/support and you'll be able to do so. And I will be back with another episode next time.